social media.
Storytelling.
Thick and fast content.
Peering into someone else's life.
Get you from zero to hero.
Share this.
Community.
Document versus create.
I've seen all sorts. So we are finally back with another episode of our Liberty Lounge. I'm joined here with Adam.
Here we are again.
Liberty Music.
Can't wait to be back.
It feels like we've had quite a big break actually, so we do apologise. I know that we said we promised to give you these episodes thick and fast every 2 weeks, so we just had a well-deserved break, went away, and we're back. We're back with a vengeance, so expect thick and fast content coming your way, basically. So in this episode, we're actually going to dedicate a lot of this episode to social media. Now, I know that we talk about it over and over again, and it is a very, very pressing topic for a lot of artists. I mean, we work with artists day in, day out, and a lot of them always say to us, don't they, do I need to have a presence on social media?
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion
Even
on that?
that's the question in this day and age, but yeah.
It's a crazy question.
Yeah.
It's like, we heard a story earlier about some major labels that will not sign up an artist unless they've got a certain amount of following on one or two platforms, and we've all heard the stories around Universal and Sony forcing their major label artists to actually have a presence on TikTok. So would you want to go on and elaborate about that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of major labels, they've got their own software which basically analyzes data. So everything's kind of data-driven these days. There's still the traditional A&R is kind of few and far between, people going to gigs and just spotting the new Adele or whatever it is. But now it's very much like data, like what's trending on TikTok, what's trending on Spotify, etc. They collate all this data in some software, they look at what's trending, then they back that.
Oh, you mean as in terms of artist discovery?
Yeah, artist discovery. So that's why I think there's so much emphasis now on metrics and numbers, and artists are so desperate to. But again, it's all going to come back to building your own fan base. No matter what you do metrics wise, if you haven't got fans, then it's kind of like a redundance. It's really about community engagement, not chasing the major label stardom that is so alluring to so many artists. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's true. So as an artist, could I make it without any social media platform?
Technically, yeah. I mean, if you've got a community of fans that are big enough to support you, I mean, what do they say? 1,000 super fans, if they spend £100, it's £100,000, right? It's a split between you and your team and to support you. So if you can get to that sort of threshold of community size, but really look after them and really care about them. But
I guess though, to even get to that point of building that community, you kind of say if you don't gig, it'll be quite tough. So I think social media is a brilliant way of gaining more fans, isn't it? Especially if you're clever with the platform. Maybe you're really good at Instagram or whatever, and we'll go into a bit more detail about what you can do on those platforms. But I do think it's a necessary evil to have just one.
There is an argument though to be had for artists in their hometown and building up that community there.
Yeah.
So you could go guerrilla style and get back on the street where there's no one really promoting, like posters, flyers, leaflets,
we were talking about that the other day, weren't we? Because actually, if someone gives me a flyer in the street now, I actually kind of hold it and read it, whereas like maybe 10 years ago, I was just like...
Yeah, because there's so much competition, right? And 10 years ago, social media was the way to get in early because no one else was... there were others, but it was a lot easier to stand out amongst the noise. So I think if you look for little guerrilla tactics that are different, that probably stand out, less competition, less, an easier way to just build your community in your hometown. I think that... And not to be so allured by getting huge viral TikToks, which obviously is helpful for an artist, but I think if you can start small, build locally, look for different ways to promote, alternative ways.
Actually, a good way is we've got the Great Escape coming to Brighton. You could actually just descend on a city or town like Brighton as a band and artist and try and build a fan base there, because you have literally got like the world's kind of music industry that's descended to our town. You can come in and literally do some amazing guerrilla style stuff there. I've seen all sorts in the streets of Brighton, and it always catches my attention. There could be somebody running down wearing a gorilla suit, like handing out t-shirts or whatever, and I'm like, oh, who's that? Or like, you get those floor decals that sort of dotted around town.
Yeah, I mean, you look at how Ren, the artist Ren, how he started. It was on the streets of Brighton as busking with his band, and obviously big crowds used to build up. It was very like
but
intimate with his audience.
I think he blew up via social media, though, didn't he? Because he was discovered that way.
I think it was out on the street first. I mean, obviously he built a following, but it was that one-to-one real interaction with people on the street that got him that early fan base. I mean, the people in the comments might disagree, but I think it's definitely a good way to start and to have that community-led, driven artist. Yeah, and he's obviously done it really well. Now it's, he's attracting the attention of all kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can, there's lots of ways to do it, obviously. Obviously, if you're at a gig or you're putting on shows or maybe doing so for sounds or whatever, you could literally engage with the audience, say, look, I'm going to go around I've got someone running around later with a clipboard and a paper. I'm going to capture all your email addresses. That's a nice way of slowly building your community. I'm going to, post unique content on my newsletter. There'll be opportunities for us to engage, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's a really nice way to do it. But I do feel like social media can literally get you from zero to hero if you use it properly. And there are so many different ways to do it. I think choose your platform wisely. Obviously, we know that TikTok is the biggest platform in the world. And I don't think anyone's coming to steal the thunder just yet, is there?
Except for the US and the bands and stuff.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
Even if it doesn't really matter, because it's a place where you can build your profile, grab attention, and any opportunity to gain attention for not very much cost. Artists should use that. And right now it's TikTok, obviously Instagram Reels, Shorts, great place to be as well right now. You want to maybe speak on that?
So I'm a massive advocate of Reels. I tend to put a reel up a day. That's been my mantra for the last sort of few months, actually. And I'm trying to engage with an audience via that. So for me especially, obviously I'm using Instagram and Reels from the perspective of being a co-founder of a business and sort of showcasing my life and my lifestyle through that lens, so that if people want to kind of follow my footsteps or inspired, I kind of give them a window into what that world looks like. So I guess what you could do is really utilize it to the best of your ability. So you could be a multi-instrumentalist and maybe your fans don't know this about you. So you could utilize Reels to really show what your level of sort of skill is in the studio or with instruments and maybe all the different instruments you play. Because I think a lot of the time now, as a listener, we don't actually know that the artist has played the piano on their track and the keys, or, the guitar, and you could be like, look, I actually did all this. So you could really kind of open that insight into what you're up to.
It comes back to storytelling, isn't it? And beginning, middle, end. If you can capture a short with those three things, so you've got the beginning, maybe it's a hook, something to really grab attention the first 3 seconds. Then you've got like a middle, which is like foreshadowing, keeping the viewer in suspense and like what's going to happen next. How is this going to end? Because you want to retain their attention, obviously, as long as you can. And then you've got the end, which is like that sort of beautiful Disney ending or whatever it is. But it's a way to just really capture people's imagination about you as an artist, build your story, even if it is just 20 to 30 seconds. I think it's really powerful.
Some people have struggled with long form versus short form. Do you have a preference?
I think both. I think long form allows you to capture like you as an artist and all the nuances and the things that happen in the day, the stuff you didn't plan for, the stuff that's not choreographed. And it's like a real window into the artist's world. Yeah. Whereas the shorts are more like a way to tell a story, a particular moment in the day. So I think a combination of both.
Shorts are very much about having a hook, utilising copy and content really well. So kind of like, we always see like, I don't know, like POV, that's always like a sort of term that's used, proof that you can do this or whatever, and it shows like that, or read the caption or whatever. So that's a really good way of getting people to draw them into your post.
And it's all about the way you tell the story as well. Yes. The language you, because right now we're finding this a lot, is the scrolling. Obviously, some people deaf scroll, but you can do
we all deaf scroll.
We all deaf scroll, but you can see...
She says scrolling on her phone right now. No, I'm reading my questions.
You can see the actual fonts delivered to you instead of having to listen to it. Because a lot of people won't have their audio on.
Yeah.
You know, so they might be on a train, or whatever it is, that they can read the video rather than actually listen to it.
Yeah,
so I think
actually, that's a really good point. Apparently, most people watch shorts, reels, and TikTok in silence. So if you're going to have any kind of chatting on it, you must have subtitles.
Yeah.
So, and there are so many apps. I talk about this all the time. Opus Clips is one of my favorite AI apps that you can use, where it will literally pull out all the content.
I narrate the whole thing visually.
Yeah, it's
so
really important.
That's really important. So then it comes down to like, what do you say in the content? And I think the way you tell the story is really important. Like you, for example, an artist could say, I don't know, I went to meet a songwriter, my songwriter friend, then it rained. It's like, okay, well, that's kind of boring. I went to meet a songwriter, just then it rained. Yeah. And it's like, oh, what's going to happen? You know, you're holding a bit of suspense. So I think just play with the language, trial out lots of different videos, maybe 10 or 15 ideas, and boil that down to one, see which one interacts the most with the audience. And
yeah, no, that's good. And you know, there's some people that are brilliant on social media. Like, for example, we work with Etta Bond. She's one of our artists from a while back, and she is brilliant at utilizing. She uses Instagram. She had one track that she put out, I think it was around Valentine's Day, and she literally took the viewer with her. She sort of showed the back and forth interaction between her and this guy, actually screenshotted the messages, their exchange, where they were going to meet, and then she took the viewer with her to meet him at 8 p.m. at this pub, and it was brilliant. Like, we saw it all unfold in real time, and it was like amazing. And she's so clever at doing that. It comes very naturally to some people. They don't even have to think about it, and I think for someone like her, it may be very natural too. Whereas for someone like Fred, again, he's brilliant with his social media. He screenshot and put up a post the other day about the very first time he sent a DM out on Instagram to somebody that he loved, like I think it was a producer or it was a backing vocalist, and said, hey, I've got a track, would you consider doing the vocals for it? And it was the first time he ever reached out to somebody as an unknown person. And he was like, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be here today, because that track blew up. So he kind of like shows us all the little behind the scenes, you know, and shows the vulnerability of being a producer, artist, multi-instrumentalist. So I think that's definitely a way to go as well, isn't it?
Real
you
and
don't
vulnerable.
want what do you think about the polish versus the raw?
It depends on the context, right? If you're doing a documentary or Netflix or something, obviously you want it quite polished. I think there's a place for that. But when it comes to being real and authentic, then you want it, you know, as raw as you can.
Because we're bored of seeing, like, you know, the influencer with a smoothie on a beach, you know, and I think there's so much of that, isn't there? That actually we quite like seeing, like, the tears, the pain, the kind of narrative behind the song. Are there any artists that you like that sometimes get a bit real and honest with their music writing and stuff? I'm trying to think if there's anyone that sort of jumps to mind that's like really
Viagra
raw.
Boys are like quite open about the way they are, and you know, there's no like
Seafood Mods. They're pretty good for that, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not about like trying to hide. It's about revealing, you know, and being as honest as you can about all the things that, you know, aren't so pretty.
Yeah, so true. I see it a lot now, like people with health issues and stuff, like artists, musicians, and they go, you know, a year ago today I was suffering from postnatal depression or whatever, and then they'll sort of go through the whole story, and they're like, but look where I am today, you know. So it's kind of taking you through that journey. Yeah,
and it gives people hope, and like that there's a brighter future when they are going through like anxiety or depression or a hard time or trauma. There is light at the end of the tunnel when they see their big influences or their idols or stars or musicians or whatever going through it and have gone through it, come out the other end.
Yeah,
because we're all vulnerable in the same way.
Yeah.
So it's great to show that, because you're not only building your own engagement, but you're helping other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so good. And around sort of algorithms and stuff, I know you're quite good with your knowledge of TikTok. So is TikTok a necessary evil? Do you think there's still pressure as a musician to be on TikTok? Or do you think actually if you're really good at Reels and Instagram, just stay with that? Or if you're better at Shorts on YouTube, stay with that? Or do you think you have to be on TikTok?
I would say, like, any platform that's in its infancy, get on it. there's like this evergreen moment when the things are new and it's easy to grab attention. Attention's underpriced. It was on TikTok. Now it's getting a lot more competitive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that's not a reason to completely avoid it, because no matter what you do, no matter what platform, you'll always have learnings.
Yeah.
And things that you can take to the next platform.
Yeah.
So I would say get on there, but maybe if your content is focused on reels and shorts, figure out what other types of bits and pieces you can.
And you use
send
the
over
same
to
bit of
TikTok.
content, yeah. So you
I almost, but
Okay.
but if you're shooting everything in a day, then why not put some aside for TikTok as well?
Yeah. And also, I mean, we have to mention it, but ChatGPT is fantastic for ideas, script writing, themes, so you could literally say who you are, what you're wanting to achieve, how the audience that you want to engage with, and it will come up with a series of kind of ideas for you, won't it?
Machines are not taking over. Okay? Just get on over
Use
AI.
it.
I find like there's this fear around it that things are going to change and for the worse. I think there is a lot of,
Yeah.
what do you call it? FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Okay.
But ride past it, use it to your advantage. We're seeing artists use apps like Suno and things like that, which are...
We've got an AI chat on the next podcast, which there's loads to talk about on that, and we're going to go deep dive into that a bit more. Going back to TikTok, if I was an artist and wanted to jump on a trend or an algorithm or something, or what's kind of... Yeah, what's trending on TikTok? Where do I go? What do I do? And do I jump into it, or do I not bother?
No, experiment, trial it out. Look, there's millions of ways you can gain traction on TikTok. One way is, for example, going to the discovery page and hashtagging the different topics that surround your music.
Okay.
And seeing what other influencers have created, and to see what's trending before, what's gone viral. And sort of take the concept of the idea, not necessarily the idea itself, but what's the thinking behind it, and use that and apply that in your own way.
So you mean experiment, see how it goes. What happens if you're like this overnight success, having jumped on a trend, and then you sort of like the next day you get sort of the views drop again? Do you just sort of have to take it on the chin and just be like, oh, okay?
Yeah, I don't think it's
ride
even
that
taking
wave.
it on the chin. I think it's just being a creator continually and not get too besotted with the views. Obviously, you're trying to get exposure, but like keep creating, keep posting, keep looking for new inspiration, experimenting. Was it Mr. Beast always said, like, come to me when you've made 100 videos.
Wow.
Because only at that point, really, you're gonna have any idea what the hell you're doing. So the trending pages and the discover pages are a hotbed of ideas. And if you look at different topics, you can apply it to your own.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And some artists literally do just blow up on these trends, don't they?
Yeah.
And it can literally get you you can go from 0 to 1,000 fans in a night. And then it's just a case of now maintaining the attention of those 1,000 fans and making sure that, you're connecting with them and all sorts. And sort of deep diving a bit more into that, sort of looking at how to cultivate a community and a fan base on social media. I mean, we've got a friend, Maddox Jones. Check him out. He's brilliant at it.
Shout out to Maddox. He's on this. Share this.
Shout. He's always got a new track out, so do check out his latest song. But he's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, he came over to our house, a couple of months ago, and he was doing the washing up, talking to his fans on TikTok live.
Yeah, I mean, you literally had it glued to him the whole time. I found that that's great, because you're peering into someone else's life literally on a live stream constantly, and I think that's probably where it's headed. Eventually, we'll just have like windows into people's lives that whenever we want to have a look,
whenever we fancy sort of looking at what they're about to have for breakfast, we can see it basically. No, but I think there's that. So obviously doing lives and kind of, you could be literally at a piano, right?
Yep.
Sort of with an idea for a song. And then suddenly you could be like, do you like that line, guys? And then you could literally go on a live with them. Or give me a theme. I need a theme to talk. I need a theme basically to apply to this
How do
new
I finish
song.
this lyric?
Where do I
go?
lyric?
Do you like this chorus idea?
Yeah, I mean, that's a real great sense of community and fan inclusion. Fans love that. Obviously, you've got on Instagram now, like channels, so you can join someone's channel. I haven't actually done that, so I don't know if anyone has done it. But that's also, I guess, about community. And I think some people actually even charge for their channels. So they have it's like £2 a month to join the channel, which, some people might think is a bit cheeky. But on that channel, you might have unique content. You might do exclusive lives. It's just wrapping up on that point. So you can really utilize social media to grow and engage with your fan base, can't you? And yeah, so there's all sorts of things. You can even DM people and kind of go, hey, I want to send you a little goodie bag following me, or maybe even look at who regularly likes and comments on your posts, because they are probably a true fan.
Yeah.
And you're actually looking at, he's doing something in that area.
Yeah.
So
more to come on that one.
Yeah, more to come on that. But they'll more likely be your real fans, won't they? They're always liking, sharing, DMing you, and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we're moving from a world of like one-way interaction where it used to be just post and then whatever happens, to now it's two-way. So it's like the fans are getting involved in even size of music creation, even like when you're writing a song or a track and you've got stuck on an idea, you could ask the fan, like, what should I use for the chorus lyric, or what chord could I go to here?
Yeah,
and I think
it's true.
Involving them in the process really engages them even more. I think
so true. It makes them more human as well, because I think once upon a time when we were teenagers, most of our music idols were like a million miles away from us, and we could never really sort of put our hand through the looking glass. But nowadays, I regularly watch Doja Cat's lives because she's amazing. And she always talks to people, and so suddenly you've got this two-way dialogue with your like superstars basically, and it's amazing. Like she'll even say, if someone's like, "Oh God, you look rough today," she'll be like, "Fuck off," like that to Ken in Kent or whatever, and I think it's really nice. I quite like that, So yeah, so I think
he's probably trying to get a rise out of it, but like that happens a lot. I think the fact that they're breaking down the barriers between like the idol, the star, the illusion.
They're no
of
longer
stardom.
up there in that high pedestal. Where
they're
we
just
can't
real
touch
human
them.
beings like everyone else, and I think we're having that two-way conversation, and the fans feel part of the win as well. So if a track becomes big, and imagine if you're a fan, you contributed to it in some form or other.
Yeah, obviously we had that incident where obviously Lizzo actually listened to a lot of her fans, having wrote a particular line in a song that was already out there and published, which she felt was being received quite badly, negatively, so she decided to actually rewrite the song, which, I mean, you can go as far as that now, can't it? You can let your fans have that much ownership of your creativity, which I'm a bit like...
I think that's after the song was out, though, right?
It was after the song, which I think is a bit weird.
Before the song is out, I think it's okay
different.
to interact with the fans and get them involved.
Yeah.
But also things like challenges, competitions, setting little challenges for your fans. That's another idea.
Yeah.
They feel honoured and touched to be sent a playlist or things like that. Cost nothing.
Playlist of influencers, like this is what influenced me to write this song. Here you go, I've made you a 5-track playlist. It doesn't need to even be that big, does it?
Yeah. And people will talk about it. They'll share about it. Oh my God, Lizzo sent me this playlist. Look at this.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, that would be pretty epic.
I mean, that's what Taylor Swift's been known for, isn't she? She sends
she sends gifts.
Yeah,
she goes to people's houses, on Christmas Eve or whatever, and drops presents off. I mean, could she be any more?
And also that recent content with her actually being at a show watching an artist idol of hers.
Who was that then?
So she was at, I think it was Post Malone, one of those guys. But she was at a gig recently in the crowd, with the crowd dancing. I think that shows a kind of vulnerability, and it's not so much about her and her ego and like
that's
I'm
a good
separate
point, actually. Do artists go and see other artists?
Yeah, it's like breaking down that barrier. I think that's really powerful now.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, yeah, she is very much the girl next door, and she very much maintains that image and that attitude to life, which is amazing. Very quickly, 2 last questions on this whole social media thing before we wrap up. Is consistency important in terms of posting? And how do you get consistent if you just run out of ideas? What do you do there?
Absolutely. I think this is where a lot of artists struggle, because they go all hell for leather and then they burn out and then they stop posting or whatever it is. I think if you can build it into your routine, good habits obviously take like 60 days to build. So you've got to create a routine for yourself somehow. Maybe it's a day a week where you're just filming, or even two or 3 days a month if you're really struggling. Yeah. But get it all done in one day, for example, for the following month. If you're one of those, or if you just love it, like some of our friends who just stream all day, then that's great. You don't have that problem. But yeah, it depends on the person. There's always a way, even if you don't enjoy it as much,
And you could even break up a piece of content. So you could have like a, I don't know, studio session or writing session or whatever. And you could have like, don't just put it all out there. You could actually just break it down into 5 bite-sized pieces. And then that's like almost like a week's worth of content for you.
And document versus create.
Yeah.
This is where they struggle, because they put so much into choreographing this amazing creative piece of art of content.
That's really not what social media is about.
No, it's about document. Oh, you can do that, obviously, but document is an easy way to do it. You're in the studio,
Definitely.
you're with a songwriter, you're about to meet your publisher, you're about to get on a bus or something. I don't know, whatever it is, just document, and that's it's a nice and easy way to get content made quickly and without thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
So have a friend follow you around, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly, because it's very hard to do yourself, obviously. So yeah, just see if you can sort of bribe a friend, relative, whatever, to kind of
your vision, and I think it's about sharing your vision.
Yeah, sharing your vision.
Yeah.
Or just get a videographer, you know, from the local music film college, just to come and follow you for the day. I'm sure they'd love to, really.
Quickly on that point, I think a lot of people worry, is that entertaining enough?
Right.
And the funny thing is,
it is.
The nuances and the boring stuff is actually sometimes more entertaining than the stuff you try to conjure up, you know?
Yeah.
So I think people will find it interesting. They will find it entertaining, especially if you're putting out great music. They want to see it more than
or let's say you're filming a music video on the day. You want to see your journey on the train up to the music video and what you have for breakfast, and the preparation, the nerves that come with it, and the laugh and the trials and tribulations behind the scenes, and all the disasters and stuff like that. Actually, we do want to see that.
Yeah,
we actually prefer that bit.
People love watching.
Humans are really bad. They like the ugly stuff as well. That's why we're all into Big Brother and stuff. But yeah, visual storytelling. So like, if you've written a song, I love it when the artist breaks down the lyrics and shows some of the rough notes that took them to get into
from A
that
to
song.
B.
Yeah, and even like the handwritten stuff, and like, you know, the millions of pages of books and lyrics that are all splattered out on your desk or whatever, and then like little kind of images that you use to write the song or whatever. I think that's really, really nice. And maybe what you do when you break out from writing songwriting, you might go for a walk down the road, or go to your local cafe and have coffee or whatever. I don't know. We love that. I think people don't realise that. I think artists sometimes take it all a bit too seriously, but we want to see all that.
And the thing is, you're in the entertainment business. That's the thing that we forget a lot of the time. And get too serious, it stops being entertaining. So
exactly.
We've taken on an artist recently. Shall I mention his name? M. Dot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So at first,
controversial M. Dot.
It was
no,
shocking.
He's a good guy.
It was shocking, some of the stuff, but we're like, oh my god, are we going to work on this? But we actually found it entertaining.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And it sits with you, and you're like, oh, actually, I kind of want to see what he's up to. Because you're entertained, like. Yeah. So I think.
But it's very natural for him as well, isn't it? He's not putting it on as well, which is even funnier. But yeah, we want to see it all. So be brave. Just get out there. Activate your phone, you know, just make some content. Let us see what you're up to. And obviously, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode. We have loved talking about this, and I think it's a topic we could keep talking about because it's never ending, really, and it's constantly evolving. And please like and subscribe, and send us some feedback in the comments.
All right, see you again.
Thank you.
Cheers.